expenditure, investments and public asset management as well as telecommunications will take a final call on MTNL's bank debt. SEBI chairperson Madhvi Puri Butch and her husband Dhaval Butch issue a statement in their personal capacity regarding Agora advisory, clarifying that Butch has never dealt with any file involving the consultancy firm or any of the business groups named in recent allegations after joining SEBI. Several Tata Consultancy Services employees received demand notices from Income Tax Department over alleged discrepancies in their tax deduction at source or TDS claims. India's largest IT services company has asked the employees to wait for further instructions before paying the demanded amount. The tax demand varies from 50,000 to 1.5 lakh rupees. The Apple iPhone 16 series is now available for pre-orders in India starting 5:30 p.m. today. Buyers can pre-book their iPhone 16, iPhone 16 Plus, iPhone 16 Pro and iPhone 16 Pro Max through both online and offline retailers. Prices for iPhone 16 series start at 79,900 rupees with iPhone 16 Pro Max priced at 1,44,900 rupees. China's Finance Ministry imposed a 6-month business suspension on PwC's auditing unit and mainland China over auditing of Evergrande, as per the Chinese state media today. The World Health Organization says it has cleared Bavarian Nordic's vaccine as the first shot against Mpox. The approval, known as pre-qualification, is an offline official list of medicines used as a benchmark for procurement by developing countries. Good evening. You're watching In Your Interest. I am Shweta Kothari. The top story we're tracking at this hour, the Adani-Hindenburg saga, the high-profile story that broke in January of 2023, continues to evolve with new developments today. At the center of the latest allegation is the freezing of 6 Swiss bank accounts held by a Taiwanese resident as a part of money laundering probe, suspecting he may be a front man for Adani Group. Now, what are the latest allegations? According to Hindenburg, the Swiss authorities have reportedly frozen assets worth $310 million tied to the Adani Group. Hindenburg quoted the Swiss media outlet Gotham City in its report, stating that a ruling by Federal Criminal Court or FCC shows that Geneva is investigating alleged wrongdoing for more than 310 USD belonging allegedly to Chang Chung Ling, which have now been frozen. The Swiss investigators suspect that associate Chang Chung Ling is not the ultimate beneficiary owner of the company under investigation, but a mere frontman for billionaire Gautam Adani, who has sequestered money in at least 5 Swiss banks over the last 3 years. Now, these funds are linked to allegations of financial misconduct, including money laundering activities. According to reports, these accounts were flagged as a part of a larger investigation into potential violation of international financing regulations. The freeze follows findings that Adani Group may have used these accounts to channel illicit funds and bypass regulatory frameworks. Now, Adani Group has denied these claims, and Swiss court as well as the Swiss have not mentioned the group company or named them, nor have they received. The Adani Group have not received any request for clarification. Well, that's the statement coming out of Adani Group as of this morning. The name, however, Chang Chung Ling, had first surfaced in Hindenburg report back in January of 2023. The report accused the Adani Group of, and I quote, brazen stock price manipulation as well as accounting fraud. According to Hindenburg, Adani used shell companies in tax havens like Mauritius, Cyprus to inflate their share prices of all listed entities, misleading investors in India and concealing debt. Now, the Adani Group vehemently denied these accusations, dismissing the report as malicious attack on India's economic growth. However, the damning report earlier led to wiping away of $150 billion in market value of the listed firms of Adani conglomerate in the following weeks subsequent to January of 2023. Following the Hindenburg report, Indian regulatory bodies including Securities Exchange Board of India, the SEBI, launched investigations into Adani Group's financial practices. The Supreme Court of India also constituted a panel to investigate the allegations, which led to more detailed inquiries into Adani's offshore dealings. In July of 2024, the Supreme Court in its final ruling declined to order a CBI or an SIT probe in the matter. In its judgment, the Apex Court said that market regulator SEBI was conducting a comprehensive investigation into these allegations and its conduct inspires confidence. SEBI in turn said that it has completed its investigation in 22 out of 24 matters where the allegations had been leveled against Adani Group. But the SEBI, on its part, did not share any details at all. The latest allegations, if one were to go by, the Adani-Hindenburg saga is far from over. The latest freeze on Swiss accounts allegedly linked to Adani raises more questions on the group. As investigation in Switzerland continue, the outcome could have lasting effect, not just on the Adani Group, but on how corporate governance and financial regulations are enforced in India versus globally. Shifting focus now, gold prices have hit a fresh record high on Friday. The yellow metal is up over 2% this week and has outperformed risky asset classes like equities overall in 2024. My colleague Suyash Maheshwari speak to Harshal Barot of Metals Focus to decode the rally in gold and the road ahead for the yellow metal.
Gold prices have hit a fresh record high. Spot gold is now sitting at a lifetime high of $2,571 per troy ounce, marking a 25% rally this year alone. What's behind this massive surge? Well, investors are betting big on major rate cuts in the US by the Federal Reserve next week. And it's not just gold that's winning. Equities are also at record high, but the yellow metal is leading the charge. Now, the expectation of a Fed rate cut is causing bond yields to dip and the dollar to weaken. That's fueling the rally in gold because when interest rates drop, holding gold, which remember does not pay interest, becomes more attractive. Plus, a weaker dollar makes gold cheaper for foreign buyers, driving up demand even more. It's a classic case of no interest, no problem, and gold is reaping the rewards. But here's a big question. Can gold keep outshining other assets? What happens if the Fed rate cut or its commentary disappoints the market? To answer that and more, we have Harshal Barrett, Senior Consultant for South Asia and the Middle East at Metal Focus joining us. Harshal, thank you for giving us time here on News 9. What do you think are the factors driving this rally in gold prices?
So primarily what we've seen this year, there are 2 to 3 main factors that have been driving gold. One is expectations of US rate cuts. Second is continued presence of some or the other geopolitical uncertainty in the global market, which is again been a big driver. And for a large part of this year, central bank buying has also been very, very strong. So I think overall these are the factors that have been driving the gold prices. More recently, again, as expectations that the rate cuts will now actually start from next week, have been driving prices because what we've seen is with the ECB cutting rates yesterday, some of the other major central banks like the Bank of England, Bank of Canada already into their cutting cycle. Now, more or less, apart from the Bank of Japan, we've seen all major central banks now in an easing mode. So I think the overall backdrop is very positive for gold.
Harshal, the market is currently pricing in a 50 basis point rate cut in the upcoming Fed meeting in September, or a total of about 100 basis point for the year. Now, in your opinion, if we see a surprise either smaller or larger than expected, how significant of a move can we expect in gold prices? Also, which do you think is more likely, a smaller than expected rate cut or an outsized one?
So I think our expectation is of a more modest cut. We don't expect an outsized cut. So I think given that 25 basis point is probably still the base case for the markets. So unless the Fed then outlines a very aggressive cutting cycle in the future, I think we should see some potential profit taking in the near term, which would give you a sort of $150 odd correction from these prices, because most of the positives are in the price at the moment. So, barring a big surprise by the Fed on the dovish side, I don't see the current factors, pushing gold too much higher from here. What we'll have to see then eventually is that, does the US economy enter into a recession? Because if it does, then again the market will start expecting bigger cuts. So market anyways has been very aggressive about factoring in rate cuts throughout the year. So you started the year with the market expecting 6 rate cuts, then the market came back to 3 rate cuts, then it came back to 2 rate cuts, and then suddenly now the market is expecting another 4 rate cuts in just a matter of 3 months. So market expectations tend to be a bit more aggressive, because there is always this fear that, given that we've seen a period of high interest rates for 2 years, very high interest rates in the US, uh, there is this constant fear that the economy might fall into a recession sometime next year. So I think those investors are still heavily betting on a Fed having a very fast and deep rate cutting cycle, which is continuing to support gold.
Considering that there is still a lot of uncertainty regarding rate cuts and even geopolitics, does it make sense for one to buy gold at the current price point? Also, what's your year-end price target for the yellow metal?
So, from a compliance perspective, I'm not allowed to give you an outright buying or selling call, but I would say that, as I mentioned earlier, a lot of the positives are in the price. Yes, there is momentum as of now, which could take gold to, potentially 2,600, 2,650 as well. But there is scope for correction once a bit of excitement settles around rate cuts. So I think then it would probably be a good time, because I think from a 1 year perspective, gold still looks bullish to us. We think that the rate cut cycle is probably going to continue until the end of 2025. And by then, I think the market will fully factor in all the positives, and then maybe the cycle may change. But for the next 12 to 15 months, we still expect momentum to be strong. Other global uncertainties still remain. There is a US election coming up. The Middle East is as volatile as ever, so you don't know what happens on that front. So I think investors will continue to diversify and have a holding into gold. So what you're seeing is very aggressive buying on every price correction. So, when that $150 price correction, if it occurs, is again going to see very heavy buying as well. So I think that would be my opinion.
All right, time for a short break here. We'll be back in just a bit.
Hey, careful, huh? My daddy got it from abroad. Hey, disaster! How will you pay for the loss now?
In stock market, you should take risk as per your capacity and knowledge. Trade in options very carefully.
Wow, Dikra! Absolutely perfect. Take risk with full understanding.
सोच कर, समझ कर, invest कर.
Why is the state not looking at putting an embargo on that?
As a Telangana person, I will not accept.
How do ordinary folks deal with this?
In the heart of New York, an Indian spectacle unfolds. Step into the world of the elite saga, featuring influential Indians who've rocked the globe. From culinary geniuses,
this has been nothing less than a dream,
to the wisdom of sages.
And which is why success can never be spelt without you.
Discover the stories behind the stars. Experience the magic behind the scenes. At the first Indian event at the Statue of Liberty. Watch the Elite Saga streaming only on News 9 Plus. Download now.
Welcome back. You're watching News 9 Live. I am Shweta Kothari. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman found herself at the centre of a political controversy after a video of her interaction with the managing director of Annapurna Hotel, Srinivasan, went viral on social media. We'll get you that video very, very shortly. The video showed Srinivasan apologizing to the finance minister for criticizing the GST system earlier. The matter started after Srinivasan, during an MSME's meeting with the finance minister in Coimbatore, talked about the complexities associated with different GST tax rates for various food items. After the apology video, however, surfaced, the BJP, the ruling dispensation, as well as Nirmala Sitharaman particularly, soon came at the target of the opposition parties. What was that video about? Before we play that, joining us is my colleague Krishna Kumar. Krishna, before we play that video, it gave everybody in the room a hearty laughter. But tell us, what is the video all about, and why is it so being talked about right now on social media?
Right now, there are two videos that are being spoken about on social media. First one is obviously that video of him, this particular managing director of Annapurna Hotels, in that meeting, telling the finance minister that it's becoming very difficult to calculate the GST and pay the GST on different products because of so many different ranges of GST. For example, sweets have a GST of about 5%, whereas savories have a GST of 12 to 18 to even 28%. So in this particular video, he's made a joke which was enjoyed by just about everybody on the floor over there, about how, the GST on cream is 5%, the GST on a bun is 5%, but you have to give a cream bun, the GST on the cream bun is 18%. So, customers are saying the fact that just give us the cream and the bun separately, we will just put it in together.
All right, let's quickly listen into that video before we resume this discussion.
அடுத்தது காபி குடிக்கணும், காரம் வேணும்ங்கிறது, காரத்துக்கு 12ன்னு சொன்னா உடனே சண்டைக்கு வர்றது, இது டெய்லி எங்களுக்கு நடக்குது பிரச்சனை. ஒரே பில்லுல ஒரு ஃபேமிலிக்கு டிஃபரெண்டா ஜிஎஸ்டி போட்டு கொடுக்கறது கஷ்டமா இருக்கு. ஒரு பன்னுக்கு ஜிஎஸ்டி கிடையாது, பன்னுக்குள்ள ஒரு கிரீம் வச்சுட்டு அதுக்கு 18% ஆயிடும். கஸ்டமர் என்ன சொல்றாரு, நீ கிரீமே ஜாமீன் கொண்டா நானே வச்சுக்கிறேன், ஆனால் நடக்க முடியல. அதனால ஒன்னா எல்லாத்துக்கும் ஒரே மாதிரி ஜாஸ்தி பண்ணிருங்க. இன்னொன்னு, இதே அம்மா உங்க எம்எல்ஏ அம்மா தான் இதெல்லாம் பண்றது. அவங்க எங்க தொகுதியில் இருக்காங்க, கடையில வந்துட்டு வடநாட்டுல அதிகம் ஸ்வீட் சாப்பிடுறாங்க, அதனாலதான் அம்மா இங்க அதுக்கு 5% காரத்துக்கு 12 பண்ணிட்டாங்க. நான் சொன்னேன், இல்லைங்க அப்படியெல்லாம் இல்லை, தமிழ்நாட்டுல ஸ்வீட் காரம் காபி அப்படிதான் போகுது. அதனால தயவு செஞ்சு அதை கொஞ்சம் கன்சிடர் பண்ணுங்க மேடம். இந்தியா குறை சேர்த்து நீங்க ஏற்றி விட்டாலும் சந்தோஷம், ஒரே மாதிரியே பண்ணணும், தனித்தனியா வைக்காதீங்க. ஏன்னா வீடு ஒரு ஃபேமிலி வந்து கம்ப்யூட்டர் தடவுது மேடம். அது அந்த ஜிஎஸ்டி ஆபீசருக்கு இன்புட் கிரெடிட் எடுக்கிறப்போ ஒரே கிச்சன்ல தான் எல்லாம் பண்றாங்க. இன்புட் எடுக்கிறப்போ அதே கேஸ், அதே ஸ்வீட் மாஸ்டர், அதே கடலை மாவு, அதே மைதா மாவு, இன்புட் எப்படி மேடம் எடுக்க முடியும்? அதுல ஆபீசர்ஸ் பண்ணி வைக்கிறாங்க. ஸோ அவங்களுக்கு ஹெல்ப்.
All right, well, that's a man, Krishna, there. I see you laughing. That's a man who actually runs a famous chain of restaurants in Tamil Nadu, and he's complaining about the tax conundrum, which is essentially you have a bun and you have a cream and they're priced differently at different taxes as far as GST is concerned, and then you have a bun and cream which is at 18% GST. How does one explain that away to not just people who want it all separately? After all, they don't want to pay the GST, but also for tax officials, it gets complicated. Why is it so interesting?
It's interesting because, look, this is the cry of all small business owners in this country. What essentially, this is emblematic of what small business owners in this country go through when it comes to complying with taxes. And this comes from a really good place, a good intention, where this gentleman wants to comply with the with whatever tax that he has to bear as part of GST. So he's just saying the fact that make the GST structure more simplified, more uniform, so that it's easier for them to comply with the taxation. So in that sense, it comes from a good place. But of course, the fact that this happened, in full view of everybody with cameras over there, was certainly, did not, go down well with a lot of people, especially people who support the BJP, people who support the finance minister. And in fact, now the second video that we're talking about that is going viral is purportedly of Mr. Srinivasan apologizing to Nirmala Sitharaman. In that video is apparently heard saying the fact that I don't belong to any political party, my questions had no political motivations behind it. So, this controversy has taken a political turn on two ways. One is the fact that the BJP and its karyakartas forwarding this video saying the fact that, look, this person apologized to the finance minister, so nothing, no harm caused. And the same video is being forwarded by all the Congress people of opposition parties, because they're saying the fact that, look, you made somebody apologize for putting up a genuine concern. And that concern is not just of Mr. Srinivasan of Annapurna Hotels in Tamil Nadu, but that's the concern of all small business owners, telling the government to please simplify the GST structure.
And here's coming from a man, Krishna, come to think of it, who's actually dealing with not just customers, but also hoping to get some sort of input tax credit on all the essential items that he buys to make those delicacies for his customers. So it's a cry of a small businessman who's hoping for a more structured approach to GST, where all essentials, commodities that are used in providing those goods and services are taxed at one rate. I think what was more surprising was that apology video that went out. We don't know whether he was asked to apologize or made to apologize, but he had to apologize for making people laugh and talking about it, raking up an issue which is close to a lot of people, come to think of it.
Right. So far we understand the fact that the BJP said that he wasn't asked to apologize. It was voluntary of him, because his statement was that don't misconstrue my humorous statements as taking a political dig at you. I don't belong to any political party. So he's disavowing. He's leaning towards any political party. It was a genuine concern that he put out. So in that sense, it is still, there's still a lot lies in the grey. We don't know what exactly happened over there. We know of the fact that there is a video purportedly doing the rounds that he could have apologized on the matter. But the fact of the matter, like you're rightly pointing out, this is the cry of all small businessmen in this country. It happened to come out this way in a forum where thankfully, both the finance minister and the person making the complaint both spoke the same language, which is Tamil. So there is no, nothing was lost in translation as far as this was concerned. And on the stage, you could see the finance minister taking it in good humor. So I wonder, if the controversy around it is, too much ado about nothing. But this matter has now hit headlines with the fact that, small business owners are asking for this. It's not just whatever. And just one more addition to it is talking about the fact that, the Vanathi Srinivasan, who's a local BJP MLA, told him that, sweets are taxed at 5% GST because in North India they have a lot of sweets. and he's like, in Tamil Nadu we always do sweets.
We all have all of them together.
Yes.
We have all of them together in as much proportion. So perhaps they should all be taxed at one tax rate. But there you have it, that controversy that broke over, that apology that came out after what appeared to be like a banter between a business person in Coimbatore during an MSME meeting with finance minister. He was later apologizing. We don't know why he apologized, whether he was asked to or not. Well, that remains in the grey area, so to say. But that's all we have in this show. Thank you very much for watching.
Have not quite lived up to their pre-tournament billing, delivering a series of less than convincing performances. For 2 draws and a solitary win.
Your son will be Messi. No studies, just football all day. Go, my son, go. Make my face shine through playing football.
Not only your face, but also the country's. I will conquer the world by playing football. Come, let's go to Germany.
World's largest football talent hunt, News 9 Indian Tigers and Tigresses. In association with DFB Pokal, Bundesliga, BVB and India Football Center. Train and play matches in Europe. Register now and fly to Germany. IndianTigersandTigresses.com.
For the very first time in our investigation, we unmasked the killer of Ravindra Matre.
In 5G, we have to stand with the world, and in 6G, we have to lead the world.
Winning a Grammy was an absolutely surreal experience.
Give it to me, pass.
We'll put new glasses in the windows and they keep breaking it. This is the 4th time you are playing football throughout the day. Will you win the world by playing football?
Yes, uncle. I will now conquer the world by playing football. Let's go to Germany.
World's largest football talent hunt, News 9 Indian Tigers and Tigresses. In association with DFB Pokal, Bundesliga, BVB and India Football Center. Train and play matches in Europe. Register now and fly to Germany. IndianTigersandTigresses.com.
This is News 9 Live, India's only digital exclusive live stream.
for the early adopters, bringing you the news 24/7 for the smart audiences on the smartest TVs. News 9 Live,